SaaS, software as a service versus e-com. This is one of the things that has bothered me for many years, because when you have so much money, right, you decide to go after opportunities that are big, right, that is going to pay off in a big way, right? But info product, coaching, consulting businesses, they don't sell for as much money compared to, let's say, e-com business that can go for 5 to 7, 8 times the multiple of your business, as well as SaaS business, which can go up to 10 times or even 20 times sometimes, depending on how fast it is growing and how reliable the income is, right? So today in this video, I'm going to talk about SaaS versus e-com. Which one should you do? I got the video idea because I was talking to this guy who is also making $80,000, $90,000 a month selling information product, courses, coaching program. And I'm also doing more than 100K a month. And I also had a business which was doing more than $1 million a month that I sold as well. And I had the same question: which path should I go to? Like, now that I sold my business, I have the money. Should I do SaaS or should I do e-com, or should I just keep doing info product? So I'm going to talk about that in this video. By the way, my name is Bishal. I've done over 20 million plus for myself. And if you see my screen, today we have done $1,300 in revenue. Most of that is just selling information product, just selling low ticket information product, high ticket product, coaching program, different things. And yeah, if you want my help or if you want to talk to me, then reach out to me on Facebook. All right, SaaS versus e-com. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need like billions of dollars. You only need couple millions. I told you I had a publishing business. It was a faceless publishing business, and I had coaches as a face. What I mean by that is that the people that were actually doing the coaching were actually the face, meaning they were on the ads, they were talking to the students, right? I was the guy who owned 100% of the company, but I was nowhere there. Like nobody knew about me, but I ran the company, and all the students, everybody thought, the coaches are the main people. And that's what I did. I ran the company. We started from zero, like with no revenue, nothing, right? We built a course, everything. First month, we do 20K, 50K, 100K, 300K, 500K a month. And then a year later, we're doing $1 million a month. Everything's great, right? And then I get this email from a guy who wants to buy my business. And a month later, I sold the business. I sold the business because there's a lot of downside of having a info product business. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that has more potential, right? Because I'm spending my time building this business. I had already spent by that time 2-3 years on it. And I'm like, if I keep on spending 3, 4, 5 years, I could just have this info business, but it would just be a job, right? It will just be my little thing that I can never sell it. And I probably wouldn't have time to build any other thing. So if I wanted to build a SaaS or e-com, I needed to get out of the info business, because then I would have free time to focus on other things. So when I got this opportunity to sell the business, I said yes. Now that I had the money and I had nothing else, because the new owner pretty much took over everything, I didn't have to do anything at all. Only thing that I had was money in the bank. So what do? I had to go back to the basement, I guess, and plan out everything. What is it that I want? What is it that I want to do? And the main reason why I sold the business was that I wanted to do something bigger, because I'm spending the best years of my life, like from 25 to 35 to 40, 45, right? I want to do something that has a bigger payout, because I have already proven myself that I can do better. I can do things. I know how to run a business now. I know how to grow a business. I know how to do marketing. I need a better product, and the product that can go become $1 billion business maybe one day, right? That's what I'm aiming for. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to $1 billion business, but if you aim for $1 billion business, even if I get to $100 million, I'm happy. But that's when the two opportunities came to me: SaaS versus e-com. It really depends on you as a person, more so, to be honest. If you are someone who has a lot of e-com experience, right? You had a marketing agency or you had a business and you used to work with a lot of e-commerce client, then yes, then do e-commerce. Or you're somebody who has worked with a lot of SaaS company in marketing and different things, and you have some technical background, right? You know how to code or different things, then you could do a SaaS. It really depends on who you are. The funny thing is that I had none. Okay, I was not a developer and I was not an e-commerce guy. I once tried to do Amazon. I bought some products from China. That was like 8 years ago, and it didn't work. I ended up throwing everything, all the products that I bought from China, and that was it. Like, I never looked back on it. I never did it. I didn't have any experience on either of those, so I was not sure what I wanted to do. Based on that, I just had to look at it from outside perspective. So which is what I wanted to do. The first thing that I did was I came up with some ideas, business ideas. Like, okay, so if I was to do a SaaS, what are some of the ideas I would come up with? I was just writing down my ideas. Okay, how is this gonna work? If I do this idea, how is that gonna work? what do I need, all those things, right? What I realized with e-commerce is that if I wanted to build that thing, I had this idea for shampoo. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good idea, but the problem was that I needed to like get multiple different peoples and then get different materials, chemist guy to make the shampoo, right? It was just like a lot more logistic kind of thing. Whereas on the SaaS, I needed some developers and then we just needed to write the code. And that was way simpler for me because again, I was used to selling information product, right? Information product is a digital course. Nothing intangible exists, right? It just sits in your computer and does the thing. So because of that, I was just more comfortable with the idea of SaaS, is that you could write something and you can sell it, which is basically what an info product is, right? You could make a PDF, you could make a video training, right? And you could sell it. So just from ideas in general, I like the SaaS idea better. Okay. Now the other thing was investment. How much money do I need? It was kind of the similar, but I would say it was less for SaaS, because here what I could do is that I could actually partner up with the 1 or 2 developer and we could start building, because it doesn't cost anything to write a SaaS. And there are so many SaaS companies, there are so many infrastructure that you're going to use. They're actually free. You don't have to pay anything. If your SaaS doesn't make any money, for example, AWS, right? They're going to give you tons of credit. There are other software, they have tons of free plan. Like you don't even have to pay anything if your software is not making any money. Whereas on the e-com, you have to have the shampoo or the soap or whatever you're trying to, sell. You got to have those things up front, right? And you got to test, you got to make sure those things work, which means you have to put money up front. Now, to be honest, I had the money. So I was not against putting money. It was just that looking at different side of things, okay, I had to put less money, but I could have partner. Even if I have partner on this, I still need to put more money in. So that was the difference. The thing is that if you have a partner, there's just massive advantage. If you have a technical developer who is a CTO or something, they're in the business as much as you are. So you're both working towards the same goal. It's just so much better, right? Because you have this technical person who is helping with you, who is working with you, who is building the software, and you are out there talking to the customer. That is such a better way to go about it than compared to, like, for me, e-commerce with a lot of physical product and materials and logistic, I just didn't like the whole thing, to be honest. The next thing was the size of the opportunity itself. I mean, if you look at the world's top 10 company, there is going to be Apple, there is going to be Microsoft, there is going to be Nvidia, right? There's going to be those kind of companies. You don't see e-commerce at all. Like, you don't see those companies in the top 10 at all. It's really because the SaaS is just way more valuable opportunity. People will pay more for SaaS when you're selling it. And it's the opposite. It's not, I wouldn't say it's opposite. It's less. If you have an e-commerce business, you can sell it for 3x, 5x multiple, but SaaS can go for 7x and 10x multiple. So whenever I was looking at this opportunity, so I have 2 different ideas and it costs less, but even if I build it, it's going to make me more money. So as I was comparing these 2 opportunities, should I do SaaS or should I do e-com, right? It kind of makes sense. Like, okay, I have ideas on both. SaaS costs less and it's a bigger opportunity compared to e-com. So that was the other thing that convinced me is to do a SaaS. And then I talked about earlier, which is just the execution and my background and all those things. Execution was much more simpler as well. Just sit in front of your computer and write code, which is what I was used to doing. Like, I was selling a information product courses and coaching. Like, I was already used to sitting in front of my computer, write code. Whereas on the other side, like, contact different manufacturers, suppliers, get different products and hire a chemist and just like talk to multiple people, get the materials and just sip everything from here to here to here, right? I just didn't like that fact because I was not used to doing that thing. And again, like, if you're somebody who is used to, doing those things and you're in e-com or something like that, right? Then that's best for you. The other thing is a grass is greener on the other side, right? It's like hard things. There's going to be hard things on every business. Okay, there is no easy business. It just doesn't exist. Whenever you're writing a code, there's going to be some challenges. And then whenever you're running an e-com business, there's going to be some challenges as well. You just got to understand what the challenge is. Like, that's the most important thing. The most important thing with the SaaS is that it's IP. Okay, who owns that code? Who is the person who owns that IP of that code? The business, right? On the e-commerce side, it's just making sure the product is better and you're shipping the product on time and it works and all those things. Those are the most important thing, because if I can own that IP, like, that's the most important thing, and I own it, it just works, right? Whereas the other one, it's a product, you got to make sure. It's like different kind of problem. Like, there's always things that you got to make sure. There's always some challenges. There's always going to be some things that you have to make sure. Okay, the question was that what kind of challenges that you want to take on. And I think I would rather take the challenges of SaaS business, because again, it costs less it has bigger opportunity, and I'm used to just sitting in front of a computer and doing things. The other thing was also the opportunity. I mean, this is a different kind of opportunity. This is like, let's say, timing. The thing is that AI just came out. 2024, I sold my business and AI came out and ChatGPT and all those things, and everybody was talking about it. And here, there was no any timing. Like, it was just like, e-com is a timeless thing. It just works every time. There was no such thing as like, oh, now is the time. There was just like nothing like that, right? Because of AI and something exciting that was happening in the SaaS industry, it was more pulling me in. There's a saying that I like to quote many times, is that when there's a new industry, there is easy money. Because when there's a new industry, people don't know the bad and the good side of that new thing. People don't know what is the bad side of AI, the good side of AI. They're just like trying to learn everything. When there is that new thing, it's easy to make money. You can be the expert, you can be the guy, you can be the girl. And every time there's a new innovation, there's going to be an opportunity to make more money. There's going to be opportunity for entrepreneurs like us to do better things, to improve the process, to do different things. Because of that, AI coming out and, just being comfortable with just working from home, writing the code, opportunity, the cost, and all those things, convinced me that SaaS was the way to go. So yes, I had different e-commerce ideas. I wrote it down. Maybe I'll do it some days. I don't know. As a business owner, investor, it'll be better for me to invest in different sectors of the businesses and industries so that my assets are protected. But at the moment, it's not time for me to diversify. It's time for me to go all in on one thing and then try to scale. Like, you can become a billionaire by having 20 different businesses, or you can become billionaire by just having one business that makes $100 million or something, or that makes $2 billion or something, right? If you have Apple in your hand, if you are trying to build Apple or Microsoft, right? Why do Nvidia and why do all those things? Because if you are trying to build 5 companies at the same time, it's probably not going to work as good. So those are all the things that made me decide on the SaaS. So SaaS versus e-com, that's my take on it. The one downside I will say is that because SaaS is new, right? SaaS came because of the internet. It's like 30, 40 years old, which is not proven business. E-commerce has been here like for thousands of years. People have been selling physical product for thousands of years. SaaS is a new industry. And with AI, there is a possibility that AI can disrupt the SaaS industry in general. But what I like to think is that when there is a fear in the market, that I think is a good, because that means that there is an opportunity for me. And I like to say, your fear is my opportunity. And yes, when stock price goes down, you gotta buy. But many people are afraid to buy because they're like, oh, stock price is going down. I don't know how low it's gonna get. That's the opportunity. The market is in fear, and you gotta take advantage of that opportunity and buy that stock. And again, you don't know what the low is. Like, you could buy it and it could go low, even lower, right? You don't know. So yes, your fear is my opportunity. And I think that's what's happening with the SaaS right now. So I am building a SaaS company at the moment. I have 2 projects that I'm trying to launch. One of them, ROASPY, has already been launched, and I have another one that will probably launch in few months. So we'll see. All right, if you like this video, let me know in the comments down below so I can make more. All right. Bye.